But once you start realizing all these colors can create and adjust green in every way possible, all of a sudden your palette has just become huge.
I want to say thank you all for being here, and we are so happy that you are here joining us today. I am Lynn. I am the navigator / hostess for the event, and I'll do the behind the scenes Zoom things. I want to let everybody know before we start that this is being recorded and will go up on the Mastrius YouTube channel for people to see who can't be here with us. So if you feel more comfortable keeping your camera off, that is just fine. Also, Tricia would love for all of us to be interactive while we're doing this session. And that means you can leave your microphones on and ask questions, unless, of course, you've got big background noise. And if you feel more comfortable, you can also type questions into the chat and I will read them out for us. Okay, so after all of that housekeeping, Trisha Taylor is a master pastelist from Queensland, Australia, with over 25 years of experience working with pastels. Having an impressionistic style of realism, Trisha's work has life and movement focusing on the beauty of light. She has awards in landscape, seascape, still life, florals, and portraits, along with being awarded Pastelist of the Year in 2010. My goal is to unveil the essence of light using a variety of medium, including pastels, oils, and watercolors, says Tricia. Light has always fascinated me. It has so many meanings and significance in life. It brings clarity, hope, and unveils our path. With art as the vehicle, I tell the story of light, whether it is the hope of a sunrise, the light falling on a child's face to reveal their innocence, or the path of light as it falls on a velvet petal. I aim to share the light of God and is revealed in creation to bring just a little more joy. Tricia's work has been published in a variety of national magazines, including Australian Artist, Art, Edit and Paint, and Art, Edit, and Paint and Draw magazine in the UK. Teaching from beginners to advanced students for many years, her workshops are in demand in Australia and internationally. And we are so happy that you are all here today to watch Tricia demonstrate as she guides us through finding our story in our work while creating a landscape in pastel. And she'll also help us to understand color better as she demonstrates her system of mixing greens.
Enjoying the video? Don't forget to like, subscribe, and click the bell to be notified when new Mastrius videos are added.
Welcome, Tricia.
Thank you, Lynn. And thank you all for coming along. It's lovely to see some faces that are familiar and some new ones. It's always good to have. I know some people here have never seen Mastrius before, so we will go into a little bit about what it is and what it does. But there are some seasoned ones from Mastrius too, and I'll give you all a chance to chat. A little about me with pastel or pistols if you're from New Zealand, however you want to pronounce it. It's almost 30 years now since I first picked up a pastel, which is scaring me. I'm feeling old. But once I found them, I was a really detailed painter. I had a brush and acrylics and pastel pencils and colored pencils, and I was detail queen. And I picked up this round smudgy thing that's blunt as and went, how on earth am I going to get any detail with that? And I had my first workshop with Maxine Thompson in, I think it was 1996, which is scary. And I just fell in love. That was it. I didn't have to be slave to this little detail thing anymore. And it was an illusion, this whole detail stuff. And I could put it on, I could take it off, I could leave it out, and my kids could run amok, and I could wash my hands, and I didn't destroy brushes. I didn't have to clean a palette. I'd found my joy in pastel. And so I've been working with it ever since. In 2005-ish, somewhere there, 2007, Louise Cork pulled me aside, this tutor I had and future mentor, and she tapped me on the shoulder and said, "You've got something. I think you should take this seriously." So I did. And I really focused on pastel and focused on my direction in it. And I went to every workshop, everything I could do, I would do to gain my knowledge in pastel techniques and anything I could. And I think that focus is how you learn so much about art itself. When we play from one to the other, to the other, to the other, to a bit of watercolor, and then I'll try pencil, and then I'll try, we start making it more about the technique of each of those mediums, if that makes sense, and trying to figure out how they work. And they all work so differently. We never seem to march forward in understanding the theory of art. So I do think dedicating to one medium, whatever that is, even if it's for a short time, is a good thing. Which is why I love Mastrius too, is because it's not the same as workshops. It's just not the same. It's more about you and your path of what you want to do and how you want to grow. And you've got my 30 years of pastels at your disposal to figure out what areas you want to grow in. And so the Mastrius days, when we have a class, is about 2 hours, and it's quite social to begin with, very inclusive of people, because we want to know where everyone's up to and what their life's like, because sometimes art is therapy as well as anything. And having your tribe to belong to is really important, that they share your ups and your downs and your struggles and your successes. That's what it's about, that real community. But I'd love to hear why you guys actually showed up today. What's brought you to this particular session? And if there's any in particular questions you're hoping to get answered.
Shall I start?
Go ahead, Kathy.
So Tricia, I feel like I've sort of plateaued, I guess, and I watch demonstrations, and and when I first started with pastels, I certainly had some quite focused teaching, but I find that whilst I finally get a painting that I'm happy with, I'm still making lots and lots of the same sort of mistakes that I rub out and do again, and then it's suddenly right, and I think, so why is it right? And why didn't I know that to begin with? And every time I watch a demonstration, and there are artists who I do try to watch fairly regularly, there are things where I go, oh yeah, and I should know that. But I think because I don't do it enough, I feel like I need a little bit of a prod so that I'm not making all these mistakes. And I would also like to be not quite so pedantic with detail, as you know.
Sorry, that's right. My puppy just woke up.
Oh,
I heard something outside. He was just asleep at my feet. Sorry. Yes, it is so common, Kathy, to want to. We get this desire to be detailed because we just want to get it right. It's the only way we can feel like we can pat ourselves on the back, is it if it actually looks like what's in front of us. But you get to that point, and you are a very good artist, that you get to that point at the end of that. That is a good thing to do. It is excellent to do, but you get to the end of that and then go, now what? Okay, I can do that. What do I really want to do? And I loved the workshop I was in, and I learnt the difference between that you don't have to lose accuracy to be loose. that you can still be extremely accurate and yet be loose. So I can play with that all day. But no, lovely, Kathy. Thank you.
Thank you.
Who next, Lynn?
I'll go next if that's all right.
Go ahead, Jeannie.
Yeah, so similar for me, Kathy. I've been doing pastels now for about 15 years, I think. And I go to all the workshops and I've done all the things, and I've been teaching for about 6 years, and I only teach adult beginners because I'm too scared to teach anyone that knows more than me. But I really feel like I need to now start to learn more about the theory, and that's where your knowledge comes in, Tricia, because I've never studied art. I did go to uni, but I didn't do art. I did graphic design, and it's more computer-based stuff. So I'd really like to understand more about technique and colour and form and composition and all those things that I've never really been taught officially. So yeah, and to say I have got to a point now, I was just saying earlier, you know, that one behind me is my best yet. And I'm thinking, oh, now where do I go? Like, what do you do next? How do you get better?
Where's the next challenge?
I know it's a little bit scary because you keep reaching these different levels and you think, oh, I have to get better than that now. And I'm only competing against me. No one else is putting the pressure on. But it's a desire to want to keep learning and doing it and getting better and better. So that's what I am interested in.
Excellent. I think that's a really common story everywhere with artists. But thanks, Jeannie.
I'm going to read from Robin, who has no audio and visual set up. So she's putting her comment in the chat. And she says, you were my pastel inspiration years ago, reclaiming my artist self after years in the wilderness of being a carer. He passed this year. I am sorry, Robin. But happy you are here.
So happy to hear from you, Robin. It's been years. So what a journey you've had, and really good to hear you're looking and searching to get that inspiration back again. Thanks, Robin.
Olive, did you want to share anything?
Sure. Let's see, I've been doing acrylics. Well, I started off in watercolors, and then I did acrylics kind of off and on, you know, kind of as I was working and had time off. And then a friend introduced me to pastels about 3 years ago. And I thought, oh, no, I'm, you know, doing my acrylics. And then I slowly started to try it, and I got, you know, a small set, and then I got more and more. And so now I love it for all the reasons that you said. You know, you can just pick up and walk away and come back to it the next day. And so now I'm fully immersed, and I'm doing, you know, lots and lots of workshops here and there, and following, you know, different artists. And I'm, you know, quite happy with my progress. It's slowly, you know, I can see it getting better and better. But so I feel I'm at that stage where I want the mentorship to focus on what I need rather than doing, you know, a set picture. So I'm excited to see my growth and, you know, where this will take me.
Fantastic. Sounds awesome, Olive.
Yeah.
And it's exactly what Mastrius is all about. So
Yeah.
perfect.
Yeah.
Karen, would you like to share anything about why you're here today and what you'd like from Tricia?
I'm sure. So I have I've been playing with pastels for probably 5 or 6 years, but trying to, as availability of time becomes more, be more consistent in painting. I have had mentoring from Leonie Duff in Tasmania in the last this year basically, and I've applied as an accomplished pastelist with the PSA. But I feel that the best thing, what I really need is to be challenged and made accountable, because on my own I really struggle with yeah, just pushing myself to learn and to achieve. So it's probably not so much the technical, not saying that you can always learn technical improvements in your, but I guess I want to be able to have the freedom to explore and find my own path, but at the same time be challenged to do that and encouraged to do that. So that's probably the main thing for me is expert motivation and guidance along that path.
That's excellent, Karen. It is one of my major goals, and is to actually help you find your story. Everyone, sometimes it's too much on technique. Yes, this is how you drew a tree. Follow me and you'll do a tree too. But what if your story isn't about the tree? It's about, the bird in it. It's my story isn't yours. And I can remember someone sitting down and going, well, what do you want? I don't know. I just don't know. How do I find out what I want? Because until I know what I want, how do I know what to learn? And if I don't know what I don't know, how on earth do I know what to learn if I don't even know what I need to learn? So that's why the discussions and the sharing and the homework and the challenges and the keeping accountable is a really good thing. But that's what I'm passionate about is people finding their stories and being able to tell them, because that's what we are as artists, is storytellers. Yeah. Perfect, Karen.
Thank you, Karen. Jill, did you want to share?
Oh, hi. Well, hi. Yeah, I've had some instruction here in Australia with Penelope and also online with Alan Picard. And it's been a lot of sort of following along with demos, and it's been fantastic. But I find that when I'm left to my own devices and I have done a charcoal drawing with values, and then I'm trying to decide how to put it into color, I go through a freeze mode where I basically panic for a couple of days trying to come up with a color scheme, light, shadows, cool light, warm shadows, compatible colors. And sometimes I get it in the end and it works out, and sometimes, but I flounder. And when I'm on my own, if I'm copying someone else's color scheme, that's their scheme. So I want to learn my own sort of, I'm getting there. I'm taking a couple lessons with Leonie as well, which are a little bit less copying demos, but sort of principles. But I haven't done the color one. I really feel like light and color is my challenge. And that's it.
Excellent, because that's my passion too. Anyone who knows me, it's color is my passion. And the more I learn about it, the deeper it gets. But yeah, that's what most of my teaching is about, of how to control color and how to see it and how to use it to tell your story. So
sometimes I have too much chroma. I'd like to be a bit more subtle.
Leonie would get that out of you.
Yeah, she's whipping that out of me a bit.
Leonie Duff is one of the best artists in Australia, and when she teaches about intensity of colour, mate, you understand grey. You've been to Leonie.
I just bought the set of greys.
Yeah, no. So I've been to Leonie years ago, probably more than a decade ago. She was the one who taught me intensity. So you're with a good tutor there too. But no, fun stuff.
Yep. Thank you, Jill, for sharing.
Thank you.
Gail, did you want to share?
I've known Tricia a long time and been to several workshops, and I always learned something new, especially with the colour, particularly. So that's when I saw Tricia was doing something.
Excellent. Good to see you, Gail. We do go back a ways. It's scary when you start talking decades.
When you were just starting out, probably those, how many years ago did you say it was?
Oh,
at the showgrounds.
It would have been like 2009, so probably 14 years ago, 2010, somewhere there.
It was even longer than that.
Even earlier than that, 2000. Yeah, it could have been. It's a long time. 15.
You were very irritated, and you were on out on the veranda of the showgrounds.
Yes, that's where we met.
Yeah.
I
And I
remember it.
was entranced then.
And look how far you've come in that time too.
Yeah, since 2010. Well, it's all the workshops, it's all the good people like yourself that have helped me on my way.
Excellent.
But I still don't know enough. And when I hear you talk about colours, dreams, yeah, I'm here for Tricia.
Yes, well, you'll hear it again today because I will get to actually demonstrate that a landscape shortly. So thanks,
Thank
Gav.
you, Gail. Carrie, thank you for joining us from Alberta, Canada. Did you want to share?
I'm here really because I'm Pastel. I've been curious about Pastel for quite some time, and you know, I've seen it demonstrated once in a while, and I don't have very much experience with it, and I'm really interested in, you know, how I could incorporate it or try it out. I feel like I'm at a crossroads with my practice, so you know, I'm thinking maybe I'd like to try something new, and I'm really interested in pastel.
Excellent, because it's quite surprising how pastel and every other medium, actually you learn things from pastel to take back to any other medium you're using anyway. Color theory is color theory, no matter whether you've got an acrylic paint brush in your hand or whatever you've got. It's all the same. So it's never a detriment to go off into another world, and the pastel world, it draws you in. Yes. And it makes you addicted, so beware.
Yeah, I've been hearing that. I'm gathering that.
You're very welcome.
Thanks.
Thank you, Carrie. Roma, did I pronounce that correctly?
Is that you, Roma?
Is that you?
Yeah.
Would you like to share why you're here today? You don't have
no. Basically all of the above, what everyone was saying really speaks loudly to me. So yeah, just knowing how to move forward and to, like Tricia said, find my own story.
Excellent. Excellent. And that's everybody's had a chance to chat. Thank you for that. So there's what I thought of doing for the time here is sort of show you what a session would be like, although that's normally 2 hours. We've only got about an hour-ish. And that part of socializing is very important to us, that we share what we're all about and what we're needing, because you learn from other people what they have as well. What I use is actually a thing called Padlet, and I'll see if I can share my screen.
Let me just remove the spotlight here. There we go.
Does that still work? I think it still works in Spotlight. Now, if I share that one and then go to this one. This is Padlet, and it's a, if you can see this program, it's a place where we can go, and every student of mine would have their name at the top of a column. Oops. And every time I would teach something each month, we'd come back and I'd be able to post in here videos, links to videos, PDFs of what we talked about. You might bring up a question about, I don't know how to use thumbnails. Then if we talk about that, I can post something about thumbnails, and you can actually chat back over the span of the month, and I can reply to you in lots of different ways. And people will send in what they've done with their homework, and I can critique it. And it's just a chat space that is really handy, because there's an awful lot of resources that I supply as well. just ridiculous amounts. In fact, I have that many resources. It's crazy. And I'll have a PowerPoint display to explain any question that pops up anywhere. And they're really valuable resources to have, where you might hear it, but you need to see it. And some people need to read it. So I do all those different things to be able to share with that. Critiquing and homework. There is a lot of, however much effort you would like to put into Mastrius is what you get back. And if you want to just come along for the 2 hours and chat and see what we're all up to and then do nothing in between, then that's your journey. You're quite welcome to. But if you want a challenge, there's homework that can be set, and you send back in what you've done for your homework, which can be critiqued. And it doesn't have to be like, let's say someone's working on a flower and someone else is working on a house. We're all just talking about the color red. So that's what gets critiqued, is the color red. You can be in your own little genre world, if that makes sense. But it's up to you on how much you want to do there. So that critiquing is a major part of what I would do as well. And if I get it early enough, at least a couple of days beforehand, I use Photoshop and change things and play with things. I'll just share a different screen. Actually, I'll open it up on my screen first. It's unreal when you start seeing things on this side of this crazy stuff. It feels like, we all have to know exactly what to do here. I'm just going to go with, let's say it's balancing color. This was one I did. No, not that one. Let's go even my stories, for argument's sake. Slideshow. I'll show you a slideshow of just an example of what I would teach during a week and what the homework might be. So this is this one, and I'll just play here. This is all about finding your story, that someone might see this landscape and their story might be, oh, it's abandoned and it's lonely and it's about the passing of time. How do I tell that story? So we start with thoughts of what I would do. I would select maybe the dark windows and broken panels and the twisted age of the tree. They're all telling my story. And then I'd do a thumbnail. I'd zoom in on that really dark window. It's teaching you how to do thumbnails and how to think like this, how to break things down simply and balance it, and select your colors. This is a really muted, grayed down dull. That's going to tell the lonely story. So then it becomes a painting that tells that story, where a different person might have a different story, that it's the light across the paddock, it's the morning and it's coming awake. Same sort of process of what's your story? What are you going to pick out of it? The light across the grass, the sky, a different thumbnail to plan it. And then this color mixing, figuring out what colors I would use to tell that story. It's teaching how to plan like that and how to think like that. And these little scribbles can take 5 minutes. They don't take 10 hours, but just to figure out what is my story, because it's different to everybody else. And then it'll end up a different painting altogether. So you can get from the same resource a totally different story that's all yours. And that's an awful lot of what I teach about storytelling. So, of course, within that storytelling, and they're the kind of PowerPoint things I play with. I'm a PowerPoint fan and a Photoshop fan. But in that, it's controlling color. Controlling color is my passion. So I have a little demo over here I will change camera and see if it's still on. Hopefully it is. The palette camera's turned off, but that's right. So this is me over here. I'll change to this. Can you still hear me?
Yes, we
Yeah.
can.
Excellent. So those who've been with me before have seen this little diagram. Those of you who haven't, it's basically keeping color simple. I might just change this around for a sec and mirror it so it's doing my head in that it's back to front.
No.
So if I pull any color out of the color wheel, and I love the color wheel, it's realizing color can only move in a few different directions. It can get lighter and darker, or it can get warmer, cooler, or grayer. And when I start realizing, well, that's all I just have to add some yellow to make it warmer, add some blue to make it cooler, or add some red to make it grayer. That's as simple as it gets. And so when I'm thinking of a landscape of any sort, like let's say this guy out here, the background has lots of blue. Through the middle here, I'm seeing a lot grayer, so there'll be lots of reds. As it comes forward, I can see blue, red, and green. And through the front, I can see more yellow. And that's all it really is. With changing colours, if I only start with a crazy green, if that's all I've got, so long as I'm mixing within the same tone, I can make it cooler, or I can make it grayer by adding some red in there. And now I'm making more neutral greens, and by mixing it myself, I'm in control of how cool it is, how warm it is, how grey it is. So let's play with this for just a little bit. I'm just going to draw up with charcoal. That's a little piece here. Just to give you an example of how this mixes. But I've got a sky, and even for some, how pastels even work. I love to break things into shapes. Little tree here. We'll see if we have time to fit the cow in.
Okay.
With pastel, these things, when you put a light pastel on pastel paper, it makes this textured effect that a lot of people don't like, and they end up blending it to make that go away. But all you're really doing is dulling down the pastel. That's useful sometimes when I want the pastel to be dull, but let's do slow little layers on little layers on little layers on little layers. Little layers on little layers. And the more slowly I build up that pastel, the more the tooth will fill. Dropping a little bit of dust today. And I can fill the tooth and not have to blend it.
And by filling the tooth, you're working on a sanded paper, correct?
I am. It feels like sandpaper. It's hard to see, but it's very, very sanded. And if I want to put a little bit of warmth on the horizon, it looks like a late afternoon. Here's a pinkier color. I can just glaze that on. So long as I've still got tooth left, it'll take color. If I've got no tooth left, it won't take any color. And the solution is, if I fill the tooth, I just brush it out and I'll get more color in. but there's a basic sky already done. The background, if I think about what color to use first, I think it's a bluish color, about that tone. Then when I see that, I think, well, that's got more blue in it than that one, but it's the right tone. So I'm just going to add a little bit of blue that's the same tone. And all it's really doing is going, where is this on the color wheel? That's probably here. Oops. Can you see that bit? You can't see that bit. If I need to go, where's this? Oop, that's not good.
You went black on us.
We did. I don't know what happened there. It's back.
You're back. There you are.
It's always the way. If this color is here on the wheel and this color is further down here on the wheel, all I got to do is add something down here to it and I'll get closer to it. That's the basic theory. The next section is slightly darker and has a little bit more green about it. So I'm just going to go slightly darker. Maybe have an extra little one in there. It's a bit darker still. So I've really got the tone, but it's too blue. It's too intense. It needs to grey down from that a little and have a bit of green in it. So let's grey it down first. So the opposite to this one is over here. Bit of orange. Just going to grey it slightly. Make it a bit greener. Just putting some green on it. Now this colour is this weird subtle colour that I can't pull a pastel out and put it down as one colour. I'd have to, even if I had 10,000 pastels, you still wouldn't get that same effect. Let's go. The next layer has lots of darks in it and mediums and lights. And I'm being a tree, as people have heard me say. Being this tree. One tone. I could even leave the paper be a second tone. You'll see a little bit more warmer greens and yellows through here. So I'm seeing a little bit more colour every time it's coming forward. But in my head, I'm always, is it warmer or cooler or grayer? Is the tone right? It's a little too dark. I'm just going to soften it with a tone in between. A little bit lighter on that hill. I'll just go a little bit lighter. Now this hill in between is a lot lighter and I see more yellow first. So I'm just going to put the lighter yellow in first. Whatever I see, I follow. It looks a little bit greener than that. And it looks a little bit grayer than that. So every layer I'm putting on has a purpose of getting me to the colour I want it to be. I never assume the colour is in my box. I'm always assuming I've got to make that colour. Next tone is quite dark. Let's get even darker than that. So I'm choosing the tone first. That's better. And even if it's the wrong color, technically, so long as it's the right tone, I'll be able to mix the right color. Make it slightly lighter on the edges. One step darker than that, I reckon. One step darker. This is what I call the Goldilocks. I try a pastel. No, it's not dark enough. I'll try another one. It's too light, and then it's too dark, and then it's just right. And it's giving yourself permission to play as well. That I can play until I find the color. But every time I'm trying to find this color, I'm always thinking, is it warmer, or is it cooler, or is it grayer? Does it need more blue or yellow or red? And eventually I'll find it. The grass at the front.
Trisha, how do you modify your technique when you paint plein air?
The only real way I modify is what I'm painting first. I'll just turn that camera off for a sec so you're looking at me when I talk. In plein air, there'll be, let's say, a light coming across a building or a tree, light coming across a tree, and all of this area is in shadow. I have to decide what's changing. Is there going to be more light, or is there going to be more shadow, depending on what time of day it is? If I'm about to lose the light and more shadows coming, I'll paint the lights first because they're going to be gone. The shadows will still be there once the light's gone, or the other way around. If I'm going to lose the shadow, then I paint the shadows first. So it's really only that really makes me decide which way to go. Yeah, does that help?
Yeah.
Excellent. Let's go back to this one. If it should play. I'm frozen.
You're frozen.
I'll try. Let's try that one
There
instead.
it is.
Yeah. To err is human. To really mess up, you need a computer, I hear.
I like that.
Those golden colours. Jeannie and I were talking about them before, about what colours we're going to take to New Zealand. Just having some golds in your palette, when you've got the right yellows, you can really push colours. Hasn't that changed the whole scene?
It has.
Dramatically, where that's too intense for the rest of this subtle scene. So to calm that down, I've got my green, I've got gold. I need something with red in it. And the joy is it can be anything with red in it. Purple has red in it. Pink has red in it. Let's try that one. So long as it's the same tone, it's going to work. And that has just muted it down ever so slightly. Let's play with the soft green over the top. And this control of colour can make things go off in the distance. I can bring them forward. I can make them go back. You can always go back in afterwards. Like that little block in there has taken, what, 6 minutes? That's the kind of blocking I'd do plein air as well. Let it be that quick. And the detail can come later. I can always come back in and actually find the edge of this tree and the detail within it. That could even be done at home from photos. Where finding the actual tones and temperatures from a photo doesn't always work. Even these edges, I could come back in and say, that sky, I can come back in and find an edge here, actually find those little trees and find the detail. But I've already found my palette. I've already got the pastels out that I'm going to use. So detail we probably get into too soon. This kind of painting doesn't stop you from being extremely detailed in the end as to what your final picture is going to be. The demo is just trying to say you can control color. You can control how cool it is. I can make that foreground grass cooler by just throwing some blue on it. Even if I put cooler in the distance, just a little bit of blue back there, it'll make that feel like that's even further away now. I can add highlights to it to make it say, this is where I want you to look. I want you to come in from this way. Add some more details. Follow this way, and then I want you to come up onto this hill up here. Then I want you to go over to this patch over here and have a look at this bit. Then I want you to look at some more little trees in here. So this detail is easier to find and develop, and you can grow a painting up quite quickly by adjusting things rather than thinking you're going to get them right in the very first hit. I'm just going to put some sky across this background and drop it off into the background. Does that sort of make sense at all?
Yes.
It's only a quick little demo of how to control color, but it's extremely important that all you need is to know, do I want to go this way around the wheel, or do I want to go this way? Let's put some blue. Do I want to go that way, or do I want to go grayer and cooler? That's all it is, red, blue and yellow. And we can mix any color you like. Any color green can be mixed by understanding which direction we want it to go. I'll just change my camera back. That's only a little bit of a demo-y thing on color. Does anyone have any questions on color at all? Or pastels or...
Well, I just loved how you took pinks and greens or pinks and reds and applied them to green and changed the tone completely. That never would have occurred to me, to actually use red. And it really made a difference in what you pushed back and what you brought forward. I found.
Thank you, Lynn. And it's intriguing that a green, I'll even go back into just this again, because you can see it better in real life. Artists see things better. When I draw it, that this might be green and I need to add a red to grey it down, and it will. That red will grey it down. But realising orange has red in it, it's just got more yellow in it. So if I mixed it together, I'm just going to make a warmer grey. It's just going to be a grey with more yellow in it. And if I mix with, let's say, something just a little bit this way, it's got a bit of blue in it. So the grey I make it's going to be a cool grey.
Mm.
I've got a cool grey, a mid grey, a warm grey. They've all been greyed down by the red in it, but they've been warmed up or cooled down by the yellow or blue in it. And it's all it is. It's the only way colour can go. And the joy then becomes even this one down here, even that purple, because it's got just a little bit of red in it, it's going to make a really subtle cool grey. It's just going to grey down that green a little bit. So that's why you often see purples and violets in with greens if you just want to grey it just a little bit. But once you start realising all these colours can create and adjust green in every way possible, all of a sudden your palette has just become huge, because our boxes are filled with all these gorgeous colours, like boxes of yummy lollies, but nature is all these subtle little greys everywhere, and there's subtle little changes. Well, you can't buy 10,000 pastels and carry them with you out plein air, and I bet you'll pick the wrong one anyway. It just won't be the right one. But if you learn how to mix green and learn how to open that palette up and control the green the way you want to, then you've got the power in your hands to make any green you want. And then in a photo, if there's a really boring green, change it. Put in what you like. Add a bit of gold, add a bit of blue, add a bit of turquoise, see what happens. It's really quite amazingly freeing. Yeah. Well, there's a few other things in Mastrius that I could talk about. Are there any questions about how Mastrius works or how I teach or anything like that?
Well, before anyone asks any questions, I should probably tell everybody that your mentorship is on the third Tuesday in North America, third Tuesday of every month at 3 p.m. Mountain Time, and starts on February 20th. And it's the third Wednesday of every month in Australia, and it starts at 8 a.m. Or is it 9?
It's 8 a.m. for Sydney and 9 a.m. for Brisbane.
Okay.
I'm not sure.
And 9:30.
9:30.
Wait a minute.
Or is it 8:30?
No, it's a different time in Sydney.
Yes.
What time is it in Brisbane?
So it's 9 o'clock in Brisbane. So you'd be 8:30, Kathy. I'm pretty sure.
9:30 when it's daylight saving, because you don't have it.
Oh, that's right.
9 o'clock.
That's
8:30,
right.
9 o'clock for me.
I hate daylight saving in Australia. It throws you
Why? You don't have it.
Because last time I was talking to Kathy, she was half hour before me, and now she's half hour after me.
Yes, I have put a link in the chat.
Yes, they have.
Tricia's page in Mastrius for all the details about her mentorship. So I just wanted to get that in there before anyone asks questions.
Thank you, Lynn. And yes, once we get the times figured out, it does work fine. You get used to wherever your time zone is. But yeah, and they meet once a month with me for 2 hours, and then we have another navigator that joins us, and she actually meets up with you halfway through the month. Without me there, sometimes me being there all the time can be a little bit, people don't like to talk openly or about stuff they're worried about, or anyway, they love to meet without me for one of the sessions and talk about their homework and catch up a bit. But of course, Mastrius is more than just me. It is an endless library of videos, of panels and chats and tips and tricks, and if you can't make a session, it's recorded, so it will be there. If you don't show up, you can always watch it later. All sorts of positive things in there to be able to use and do I love the community that's there. There's so much to watch and so much to see. Sometimes it can be overwhelming. It can feel like there's so much there, I don't even know where to start. But that's just because there is so much. And there's lots of help there. If you join up, there's always people you can chat with to ask, where do I find this? Where do I go to get that? And yeah, lots of resources to see and do. Lots of community.
A little different than a course is the navigator and the group. The group is never more than 8 people plus the navigator. So that's nice. You never get bigger than 8. And the navigator is like the go-between, is like your go-to person for anything you need to know, and also the person who can pass on all the information from the group to the mentor. And we meet at those mid-month meetings. One of the big things we do is talk about how the sessions are going. And are they going in the direction you were hoping? Or does Tricia need to tweak it a little bit and talk more about color or talk more about composition? And we have those discussions at the mid-month meeting, and I pass all that information on to the mentor, and then they do their lesson plan for the next session. So it's almost like a self-directed course. It's better than a course, but it's directed by you and your needs and what what journey you're on, and what Tricia can share that way. I just wanted to get that in.
Yeah, no, it's very thankful, Lynn. You're helping a lot. Don't underestimate the value of a navigator, and these they're like these wonderful little MCs in the background that get to all the links and help you with all your tech stuff, and they're absolutely invaluable to the team. So thank you, Lynn.
Question from Jill. She wants to know, is the mentorship in a mentorship group, does that include the events, or is that a separate membership? No, it is not a separate membership. As a member, you get all the weekly live events for free, and the recordings are available for a week, and then they get recorded over by the next live event. You can purchase a separate membership for the recording library for, I think it's $6 US a month. And that gives you access to every event that's ever been recorded in Mastrius, all the way back to the beginning of them. So for $6 a month, it's really well worth it.
That's a lot. That's a lot of videos. It's a big library, just saying.
And something new that's just started this week is your mentorship sessions are recorded and will be available to you for as long as you're a Mastrius member. They go into your special space called My Studio, and you will have access to them as forever. Even if you change groups and you leave Tricia and you go to another group or another mentor, you will have access to all of these session videos. So that you can go back and rewatch, because we can't always remember everything in 2 hours.
Yeah.
When Lynn says $6, is $6 American or Australian?
It is American. All the dollars on the Mastrius site are in American, and we have to do the conversion even as Canadian.
1.5 times.
Yeah. And do you sign up for a certain period? No, it's a month-to-month commitment, and you can come and leave anytime. You're not locked in for any period of time at all. All of that information is available on the mastrius.com site, where I did put a link to that. And of course, Tricia's specific page talks about what her mentorship, all the fees, or what the fee is for that mentorship.
Good questions.
Good, great questions. We are almost out of time. Tricia, is there anything else last that you want to? I'll just put us all back up so we can see each other.
It's tricky to put into an hour what on earth this is all about and how it can help. But because mentoring is such a different thing to just signing up to workshops, I think that's why this is necessary. And to meet the mentor, some of you have met me before and know me well and how I teach, but a lot of people don't. And until you see someone and chat with them, it's hard to know whether you'll get on or whether you relate to how they teach. So the demo I gave is just a very simple one on color. I get quite deep into color and color chords, and I play in all sorts of things. But I love watching people's journey and how they grow, and watching them grow and watching the light bulb moments. And I think this way of investing your time and money into your art career is really valuable, because it is so personalized and community-based and accountable that you are here next month as well. I think it's a brilliant system of growing your art the way you want to go. So anyway, thank you for coming. Thank you for your patience with the couple of glitches, but I think we got there in the end.
It was wonderful, Tricia. Thank you so much. And this will be available to rewatch on YouTube in a few days if you want to listen again.
Can I just ask a question about pricing?
Jeannie.
Thank
Sure.
you. Thank you. I've just pulled up the mentoring prices, and the pro one has the choice of master artist mentor crossed off. So that means you don't get to choose Tricia. Is that what that means?
No, that means that there are 3 different levels of mentorship. Pro is professional, and emerging and aspiring. And Tricia is teaching an aspiring group. So it's not about
pro, master, or master plus.
Okay.
This is a labeling for the mentors, where the mentors that have been teaching for over 20 years are called masters, where I'm considered professional because I'm at 19 years of teaching.
So you'll be worth more next year.
You just get me cheaper. You just get me cheaper. So I'm at the professional price. I think it's $69 US.
64.
64. There you go.
Yeah, which works out at 97.37 Australian.
Thanks, Jeannie. This week with the conversion rate this week. But yes, so but that gives you access to the whole site and the events.
Okay. All right. I just thought maybe we couldn't choose who our mentor was if we signed up for that.
No, not at all. You have your choice of whatever mentor you like. And even if you sign up for Tricia's mentorship, and let's say after 3 months decide, oh, I think I've had enough from Tricia, you can absolutely go into the pool of over 200 mentor artists and go look for another mentorship.
Okay.
You can do that by yourself, and you can also do that with your group. As a group, you're with her for 7 or 8 months, and then you're ready to move on, and you really like your group can pick a mentor and move on as a group.
Awesome. Okay.
Really flexible that way.
Yeah. Okay. I love that. Thank you.
There is a wonderful chat bot. I never thought I would say those words in the same sentence. But on Mastrius's main page, a little box comes up that says, can we help you if you have any questions? They are wonderful. If you have any questions at all, just type it in there and they'll get back to you very, very quickly with answers.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
You are so welcome. Thank you, everyone. Is there any more last minute questions? Does anyone else want to know anything?
So just one question. So when we sign up to start in February. Is that
Correct.
right?
That is correct.
So sorry, Lynn.
No, you go ahead, Tricia.
If you signed up today, let's say your husband gives it to you for a Christmas present, you've got access to all the events and everything, but you don't have to pay again till March. Like your first payment when you sign up pays for your first one in February, and then it's automatically deducted each month after that. But you'd have access to the whole site until then, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. And you will, once you're signed up, Mastrius creates a special room called our chat for your group. and your navigator will introduce themselves, will be there to help you, to answer questions, to show you around. And you guys can be communicating with each other well before the February 21st start date in Australia.
Yeah, because we love to gather lots of information too on what you'd like to see. And what you'd like to do and what you're looking for, so I can design the first one around the team, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. I just will just interject quickly personally. I found Mastrius just over 2 years ago. It was a big commitment. I decided I was investing in myself, and my art career has launched this year, and I give all the credit to Mastrius and all the mentors I've worked with and all the wonderful artists I've met and made friends with. So I can tell you from personal experience, it's worth investing in yourself in this platform. It is no courses could have got me where I am today.
Excellent.
Excellent.
Well,
Thank
thanks
you.
everyone.
Thank you, Tricia.
It's
Thank you,
a pleasure.
Trisha. Great to meet you.
You too, Olive. I hope to see you all again.
Yes.
Yes, for sure.
Definitely. Yeah, lovely. Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye,
you.
everybody.
Bye.
Yeah,
Bye.
bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.